Starting a new airline while demand is still recovering from the pandemic. David Neeleman did it, and since May of this year, Breeze Airways is in the air. What is Breeze Airways? Which planes do they operate? And what is their business model? Let's talk aviation. In 2018, David Neeleman, founder of JetBlue, WestJet, and Azul Airlines, announced that he planned to launch another one. Initially, it was called Moxie Airways, and the start of operations was planned for 2020. They would use an entirely C-Series fleet. The C-Series was later renamed as the Airbus A220. He placed an order for 60 aircraft, of which the first 18 would be delivered in the first 2 years of the airline. They would need $100 million, and at the end of the announcement, the financing was not just finalized. With a fleet of relatively small but very efficient aircraft, they planned to operate mostly flights between secondary airports. The airline would focus on point-to-point flights instead of building large hubs to route passengers through. This resembles the previous airlines founded by Neeleman, JetBlue and Azul. By operating flights between, for example, Burbank and Fort Worth, the airport fees are lower and so are turnaround times, both contributing to the profitability of the airline. According to Neeleman, they expect very little competition on their direct flights, or as he himself said, quote, "I would be very surprised if a single Moxie route has non-stop service competition." So instead of competing with existing airlines, they will focus on opening new direct routes on which there is very little competition. Not much later, Neeleman announced the $100 million needed was found. A combination of money from himself, former Air Canada CEO Robert Milton, and former ILFC, a leasing company CEO Henry Cupron, and others. Right before the pandemic changed everything, it was announced that Moxie Airways would be renamed Breeze. Because of some delays with delivery from their first A220s they had ordered, and to kickstart their operations, they announced that they would sublease tens of Embraer E195 aircraft from Azul, indeed one of the other airlines founded by Neeleman. Fast forwarding to April 2021, and before having operated a single flight, Breeze ordered another 20 A220s, bringing their total order up to 80. Also, next to the E195s they would sublease from Azul, they announced that they would also lease a number of E190s from Nordic Aviation Capital. While their first plans were to become an all-C-Series airline, they have shifted away from this idea and instead will be operating the Embraer E-Jets on shorter 1 to 2 hour flights, and the A220s will be used for longer flights, with plans to operate flights to Hawaii and the Caribbean. The next month, on the 27th, they operated their first flight from Tampa, Florida to Charleston, South Carolina. At their launch, they plan to operate 39 flights between 16 cities in 2 months, with routes including San Antonio to Oklahoma and New Orleans to Tulsa. While these are not your common airport hubs, this is, as mentioned before, their business model. To expand operations, they went on to find further funding, and in August they announced they have secured another $200 million in investments, bringing their total up to $300 million. In the first few months they started operations, they already had over 100,000 passengers according to the CEO. And this month, the delivery for their A220s was revealed, as the first one was sited at the Airbus plant in Mobile, Alabama. The first of these A220s will be delivered next month, and after that, roughly 1 new aircraft will be delivered each month, lining the airline up for steady growth. What are your thoughts on Breeze Airways? Do you think they are here to stay, like JetBlue and Azul? Or do you see trouble ahead? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and please consider subscribing to Let's Talk Aviation.